What up, fam? It's me, ya boy, Gamer Who Lifts, and it's time for an all-new episode of Let's Review Games. Today I've randomly selected 5 titles from various systems and genres to review what's good and what's bad, and ultimately compare them against each other. This is one you don't want to miss. So, let's check it out.
I am Gamer Who Lives.
Up first on the list, I chose an epic dungeon crawler. Coming in at number 5 today, The Nightmare of Druaga.
The Nightmare of Druaga is a role-playing game released exclusively for the PlayStation 2 in 2004. It was developed by Arika and Chunsoft and published by Namco. Set in a fictionalized version of ancient Babylon, the story follows Gilgamesh, shortened to Gil, in his journey to save his fiancée Ki from the evil sorceress Skuld. The Nightmare of Druaga consists primarily of 2 types of gameplay: town sections and dungeon sections. Town sections are free roaming areas where players can purchase items, upgrade equipment, and accept side quests, as well as talk with townsfolk. Townsfolk will offer helpful information, and some residents transport Gil to side dungeons. Dungeon sections consist of turn-based play within the grid-based levels, in which enemies move or attack only when the player moves or attacks. Dungeons appear as a variety of areas, including caves, temples, forests, and sewers. Movement in the game is actually turn-based and not real-time, so every action you take in the dungeon, all the monsters on that floor will take a turn as well. Walking across a single patch of floor, using an item, changing your weapons, or other actions like hitting a switch all count as a turn. Weapons and armor change Gil's speed relative to the foes within the dungeon, as well as altering the range of his attacks. Rare magic items can be found, which allow Gil to cast powerful area of effect spells. Items can also be fused with elements, which allow Gil to deal extra damage to vulnerable foes. The game is known for its relatively unforgiving difficulty, as death in the game results in loss of nearly all items and half of the player's gold. A special autosave feature prevents players from resetting to avoid these penalties by autosaving before any scene transition, thereby recognizing if the game is deactivated without saving manually. The Nightmare of Druaga received a mixed reception from reviewers. Reviews mention poor graphics, repetition of dungeons, and the game's punishing save system. I have to note, the game's a really cool concept and story. It very much feels like a Dungeons & Dragons type of game, and to me that's awesome. I give The Nightmare of Druaga for the PlayStation 2 a 2.5 out of 5.
At the number 4 spot, I've decided to go with this rad beat 'em up, and that is Dragonball, Revenge of King Piccolo.
Dragonball, Revenge of King Piccolo is a 2D arcade-style brawler game based on the anime and manga series Dragon Ball. It was released for the Wii in 2009 and was developed by Mediavision and published by Namco Bandai. The game is an arcade-style beat-em-up and platformer that allows players to take on the role of series protagonist Goku as he fights to stop both the Red Ribbon Army organization and later King Piccolo. He must stop them from collecting the Dragon Balls to complete their plans for world domination. The single-player campaign consists of about 6 hours of running through levels, jumping over platforms, and kicking the crud out of everything in your path. Players can battle with basic or melee combat system. The 2 meters on the top left-hand corner represent health and ki, while on the right represents the player's Zenny amount. One half of the game is platforming based, allowing Goku to explore levels, jump on higher levels, and even discover hidden treasure. When enemies approach, exploration is locked until you beat all the enemies. Goku has a basic combo attack, but during certain moments, he can lock onto enemies and perform an air combo or dash. He can also block and evade enemy attacks. Goku can also unleash his trademark attack, the Kamehameha Wave, an energy beam blast that causes a lot of damage. Once all enemies are defeated, the game returns to platforming. When the entire level is complete, your score is tallied and you are graded on your performance. In addition to Adventure Mode, there is Tournament Mode that recreates the series' iconic one-on-one battles. This is the place to have those epic battles with your friends. Other modes include the shop, where players can buy upgrades, in-game music, movies, and collectibles. Revenge of King Piccolo is a Dragonball title worth trying out, especially if you're a Dragonball fan. The combination of classic game genres make for a title that is balanced, engaging, and loyal to the franchise. The only flaws present are those related to the story. The story is brief and not as engaging as the original series. I give Dragonball Revenge of King Piccolo for the Nintendo Wii a 3 out of 5.
Up next, I present you with Naval Destruction of epic proportion. Coming in at number 3, Bloodwake.
Bloodwake is a naval combat video game that was released on the original Xbox in 2001. The game was developed by Stormfront Studios and published by Microsoft Game Studios. Set in an Asian-themed fictional world, Bloodwake is a story-driven, mission-based, high-seas action game in which the player controls a series of small fighting vessels. The player controls Lieutenant Shao Kai, a former naval officer with the Northern League fleet, who was betrayed and left for dead by his brother, Admiral Shao Lung. Kai is rescued by a band of sea raiders known as the Shadow Clan, and joins them after proving himself worthy to their leader, Ped Zeng. He awaits his chance for revenge against his brother. The Shadow Clan spends most of its time preying on the Jade Kingdom, who are primarily a merchant power. Kai's brother has developed a monstrous warship named the Dragon, and a powerful magic amulet to defeat anyone and anything in his way. The game features a wide variety of naval vessels, from tiny sampans to powerful speedboats and torpedo boats, on up to destroyers and a massive battleship. The weapon types include the standard chain guns, cannons, torpedoes, rockets and mines, plus some unique weapons that are unlocked as you progress through the game. Each boat has a machine gun as its base, primary armament. Most have one or more heavy weapons as a secondary armament. The single-player story mode consists of 28 missions featuring a wide variety of attack, defense, escort, and raid mission types. There is also a multiplayer mode that supports a variety of game types for up to 4 players. The multiplayer options are somewhat limited at first, but progress through the story mode unlocks many new options. The game also features numerous Easter eggs, such as special boats, hidden game modes, and my personal favorite, Blood Ball, which is essentially multiplayer soccer on water using a 10-meter diameter soccer ball. Some things that I really like about Bloodwake are the detailed graphics, the concept, and the total vehicular destruction that you can cause. On the other hand, I dislike the difficulty of some of the missions. They felt almost impossible to complete, and it could become frustrating to play. I also think the steering controls are kind of wonky at times. I give Bloodwake for the Xbox a 3 out of 5.
This next choice was a hard one. It easily could have competed for first place today. Today's runner-up, coming in at number 2, Chakan, the Forever Man.
Chakan, the Forever Man is a 2D action platformer game published by Sega and released for the Sega Genesis and Game Gear in 1992. The game is based upon the comic book by Robert A. Krause and featured an uncommonly dark premise for its time, which during the early 90s the console market was flooded with licensed platformers based on family-friendly media. The game follows the tale of Chakan, a warrior who is so confident in his swordsmanship that he declares even death cannot best him in battle. Death appears and challenges Chakan. He states that if Chakan can defeat him, he will be granted eternal life. However, if Death wins, he will become Death's eternal servant. The battle rages on for several days until Chakan emerges as the victor. Death grants him his reward, but additionally condemns him to wander all of existence until all supernatural evil is destroyed. As the player, you start from the central hub stage, from which you can select one of the 4 elemental-based planes of Earth, Air, Fire, and Water, each with 3 levels. The player advances through each platforming level until completion or death, whereupon Chakan is returned to the hub to choose a new level. The player has infinite lives, but will be returned to the hub if you are killed. If time runs out, the player is returned to the hub and must restart the plane from its first level. Chakan starts out with his characteristic twin swords, but acquires a new weapon in the first stage of each element, such as the grappling hook, which allows him to latch onto hooks and climb, and the hammer, which will break through fortified walls. Chakan can also collect potions in each of the 4 elements, which he can combine and use to grant himself temporary powers, such as enhancing his sword with elemental powers or increasing his jump height. Chakan, the Forever Man, is well known for its unusually high level of difficulty, but still remains a small dedicated cult following. I absolutely love the nostalgia I get from playing this game. My cousins and I would spend Friday nights playing it when we were little. One aspect that I don't like is how there are no save points. You literally have to start the level completely over when you lose. I give Chakan the Forever Man for the Sega Genesis a 3.5 out of 5.
Up next is a zombie survival horror game, and a great choice for today's champion. Coming in at number 1, Days Gone.
Days Gone is a 3D action-adventure survival horror game released for the PlayStation 4 in 2019. It was developed by Ben Studio and published by Sony Entertainment. When a virus causes a large portion of humanity to become uncontrollably violent, Deacon, his wife Sarah, and his friend Boozer attempt to flee for safety and escape the carnage. However, Sarah is stabbed and critically wounded, forcing Deacon to evacuate her on a Neuro helicopter. Due to the helicopter being at capacity, Deacon stays behind with Boozer, intending to reunite with Sarah. 2 years later, civilization has collapsed and large hordes of infected, now called Freakers, roam the landscape and are a persistent threat to surviving humans. Freakers are mindless, nocturnal, zombie-like creatures that are quickly evolving and learning. Deacon and Boozer now work as freelancer bounty hunters in what's left of Oregon, with Deacon believing Sarah is dead after finding out the Neuro refugee camp she was evacuated to was overrun by Freakers. Eventually, Deacon discovers the possibility of his wife Sarah still being alive, which leads Deacon on a new quest to find her. Days Gone is played from a third-person perspective, in which the player can explore on an open-world environment. Players can use firearms, melee and improvised weapons, and can use stealth to defend against hostile Freakers. The player can complete objectives in multiple ways, such as using stealth or long and short-range weapons. A dynamic weather system and day-night cycle will also feature, making Freakers weak and slow by day, but fast and strong by night. Deacon's main transportation vehicle is a motorcycle that can be modified with parts to enhance its speed, durability, and maneuverability. Days Gone proceeded to become the second best-selling video game software in North America for April 2019. I think Days Gone is overall a fantastic game. The graphics, the story, and the gameplay were all well done. There are small issues such as glitches. I've noticed bullets going through Freakers instead of hitting them, even when it would be a perfect headshot. It can be really annoying when you're trying to conserve your ammo against a Freaker horde. I give Days Gone for the PlayStation 4 a 4 out of 5.
Well, that's it for today's episode of Let's Review Games. If you have any game suggestions you want to see, leave them in the comments down below. As always, guys, thank you for watching my video, and please hit that like and subscribe button on the way out. And go follow me on all my other social media platforms at GamerWhoLifts. Stay tuned for the next one. See you next time.
It's